What's up guys, English Dan, back with another video. Been off for a couple of weeks, had some problems, you could call it that, a few deaths around me and things like that, so wasn't feeling it for a couple of weeks, but now I'm back and I'm back with a new video, and it's about the TCL 10L, their new budget phone. It's only $249, and what I want to know is, what wizardry and sorcery was used to make this phone? Welcome back guys. So yeah, this is the TCL 10L, and for me it's hands down the best looking device you can purchase right now in the United States at $249. And its price range, I think it looks fantastic. Just from eye candy appeal, it looks great with the punch hole display and the camera array on the back and the really nice colour on the body, the blue, how it shimmers and changes. It's really nice design. There's also other things that are really nice with this phone, and one of them that's really impressed me is the battery. So what we have inside the TCL 10L is a 4000 milliamp hour battery, which, you know, a lot of phones have around that nowadays, but not a lot of those phones get around 7.5 to 8 hours screen on time like you get out of the TCL 10L, which is exceptional. No matter how much you paid for a phone, $1,000 phones don't even reach 8 hours sometimes. So exceptional battery life on this. If battery life is something that's really important to you, then you're gonna love this phone because it has battery for days. When it comes to charging the battery up, if you do manage to kill the phone, basically, it's not the fastest at charging, but it will take around 90-ish minutes to go from 0 to hero, so not too bad. You know, at the end of the day, throw it on your nightstand, plug it in, it'll be fine, it'll be charged, ready to go, and give you another 7.5, 8 hours of screen on time the next day. That's a lot of phone usage. Now, let's talk about the specs of this device. I know a lot of people like to know about what's inside this, and this is powered by the Snapdragon 625 CPU, which on paper it's not the most powerful thing, but you pair that with the 6GB of RAM in this device and it is a smooth experience. It's running the latest Android 10 and it's running a very stock version of Android with just a few little tweaks by TCL. They don't get in the way like some software manufacturers. They get in the way of the software themselves and it just becomes not a good experience. TCL have done a really good job with it here. They've added in things that are a value proposition to you instead of adding duplicates of items that really don't matter. But yeah, as I was saying, with the 6GB of RAM and the Snapdragon 625, it's a really smooth experience when you're using the device. No lag or anything like that. It scrolls through its pages nice and fast, loads the internet, browsers up, no problem. I've not really found any stuttering or spluttering with this. It's not a laggy phone or anything like that. Really impressed with the performance, especially at $249. You gotta remember, keep that price in mind all the way through this. It's $249. So like I said at the beginning, I think this is hands down the best looking phone design wise you can get in this price range in the USA right now. I really think the TCL 10L ticks all the right boxes. Like I said earlier, it has a really nice blue finish on the back, if you can see it here. Really nice, and it shimmers away. It's a really nice finish when it comes to the actual design of the phone on the back. And then when you flip the phone around, you have this huge 6.53-inch punch hole display. So there's no notch on here, you have a punch hole in the top left corner. That's the right place for a punch hole, not in the center of the screen. Well done TCL, give you props. It is an IPS LCD panel and it looks just fine. It's a really nice panel on this device. It's vibrant, it shows good colors. It's pretty enjoyable to use. It's not a bad panel whatsoever. Could use with a couple of clicks of more on the brightness for me. When you go outside it can be a bit difficult to see sometimes in the sun, so a couple more clicks of brightness, but you can't have everything at the $250 price point. It is 1080p resolution as well, so you're not having to dip down into the sub HD section of phones, which sometimes, you know, around this price you do get a lot of 720, 800p phones. Yeah, you're getting 1080p full HD as well with this display. When it comes to using the phone with this display, the viewing angles are fine. You can, you know, see it off axis, things like that. And there's no, I don't find any color shifting or anything like that you do see on a lot of phones where, you know, if you might turn it to the side, it's going to go blue or green, things like that. I'm not seeing any of that. The display on this is really good quality. Another thing you get on this device, it's pretty feature packed really when you think about this, is a 3.5mm headphone jack, which is great for a lot of people. A lot of people still like to use their wired headphones, earbuds, things like that. I know I've got a pair from One More wired earbuds that sound great coming through the 3.5mm. It's very rare you see that nowadays, and I'm happy TCL went along and included it in this phone. Trust me, there's a lot of people who still use wired earbuds. Not everybody cares about the true wireless earbuds. Some people just like to have the wire and not have to worry about charging these things or running out of battery or anything like that. So yeah, props to TCL for putting that on the device. Now, like on the TCL 10 Pro, which I reviewed earlier, I'll put the description down there for you, this also has the button on the left-hand side of the device, and that is your custom button, which you can choose 3 different actions for button presses. So press it once, I have mine press once, the camera opens, press twice, my Google Assistant opens, and then you can tap it 3 times as well to do another thing, whatever you wanted to do with it. But it's nice that you've got that function and you're not tied to Bixby like some other very large company does with the button on the side of the phone. So yeah, props to TCL for that, not making us have to use something that they think we should use that we don't like. And another thing is, if you like to take lots of photos and keep them on your device and music like that, you also get expandable storage with this. So yeah, TCL are cramming so much in with this little device. It's $250, like I say. It's like, how do you even do this? I don't know whether you're on Twitter, but if you are, go and look up Brad Molan, and he retweeted a thread about the costs of cell phones after MKBHD did a video with OnePlus, and this thread breaks it down even further. And when you look at everything, what it costs for a cell phone to be shipped and in the customer's hand from beginning, I don't know how they make it for $250. It's amazing. Then when you get around to the bottom of the device, you get your microphone, your USB-C charging, so yes, it does have USB-C, which is nice, one cable for everything, brilliant. And it also has a single down-firing speaker. Now when it comes to the down-firing speaker, it sounds okay, it's plenty loud enough, just not a lot of depth in there, and a lot of speakers are like this nowadays, unless you buy a phone that is trying to emphasize how good the sound is. It doesn't have stereo sound where it comes out of the top earpiece either. It is solely just a down-firing speaker, and you can cover it up if you're gaming on the phone. You know, it can be quite easy to cover with your hands, but again, it's a $249 phone, and you've got to expect these kind of things. They have to cut corners somewhere, and for me, they're cutting the corners in the right places on this device. So let's talk about the cameras on this device. I was impressed with the cameras. So on the back of this device, TCL has really loaded up this thing. It comes with a macro lens that works really, really well, and you can get some really good details out of it. I'm actually surprised how good the macro lens is on this. It's a lot better than a lot of macro lenses on more expensive devices that I've seen. I was very impressed with the macro lens. Portrait mode as well, coming through the main sensor using the depth sensor, is really good on this device. Like, really good. Super surprised. I shouldn't have been really, because they were good on the TCL 10 Pro as well. But the TCL 10L also carries the same good quality photographs. The cutouts are good, the colours are really good, the bokeh in the background looks nice. It's actually a really good portrait. When you think you've got some phones that are $600, $700, $800 and they can't nail portrait shots very well, this little thing here, $250 Joe, he nails it, no problem. Portrait pictures look great. The only downside for the cameras on the back for me is the ultra-wide. The ultra-wide is not that good, and you do get some loss of detail and smoothness. It's not very sharp. So yeah, that's your downfall when it comes to the cameras. But using the main sensor, which you're probably going to do most of the time, you're going to have a really good experience. It also has a night mode, and it's not selectable. Like, you can't go in and choose night mode. It just figures itself out that the scenery is dark, and it applies night mode to it. And it's not bad, actually. It does a good job of illuminating the photograph and the objects that are in this picture that you're taking. You do get a little bit of grain, but again, at $249, I'm shocked you even get a night mode to begin with. So yeah, take it while you've got it. Decent, and it's going to look fine when you post into Facebook, Instagram, whatever. It's going to be a perfectly acceptable photo for them types of things. When it comes to using the cameras for video, you can do 4K at 30 frames per second, which is pretty good again at this price point. I keep saying the price point, but I can't help it. You get so much for 250 bucks. And when you're using the 4K 30 frames per second, it's okay, it does the job. It's not like anything out of the iPhone or one of these really expensive phones. It's just okay. You're not going to have much of a problem with it, and you've got to have your expectations in line with what you're getting with this device. And the fact that you can still record in 4K 30 frames a second is still pretty good. It doesn't have optical image stabilization. It uses electronic stabilization, I believe, and it's okay. I mean, it's not the greatest, but it's still very workable at this price point. The selfie camera is fine as well for things like social media. It's, once it gets dark, it tends to have a problem, can introduce a lot of noise. But if you get some good lighting, you can get some decent pictures out of the selfie camera. One thing you may have noticed is there's no in-screen fingerprint sensor on this. It's actually on the back of the device where we used to have them, and I actually really like. This phone reminds me that I like having the fingerprint on the back. And, I mean, it's quick enough, it's perfectly fine. By the time you've picked that phone up and put your finger on the back, by the time you're looking at it, it's on. And it's super reliable as well. It's not one of those where you keep missing the target, like out of every 10 you're going to miss 4 of them. No, it's not like that. I'm 10 out of 10 with this, so it's very, very accurate with the fingerprint sensor. Also does have face unlock, and it's just the basic version of face unlock, so it's not super secure and nowhere near as secure as the actual fingerprint sensor, but it is very fast as well. When you turn it around and the screen comes on, it's on. So you're very quick. So there's a couple of, I actually used both, so you can use both with each other, it's not a problem. That way if someone takes your phone, you've still got the fingerprint sensor to stifle them, let's say. Bloody thieves. So what do I think of the TCL 10L? I think it's a remarkable device. At $249, this could be the best budget phone of 2020. There's nothing really else, maybe a couple of the Moto phones, but they always seem to lack something, and this seems to have a lot more things that those other phones don't. The screen's really good, the battery life is fantastic, the design looks good, it's got really good main sensor for cameras, does great for portrait photos, offers a night mode, allows you to do 4K 30 frames per second recording. It's also got the latest and greatest Android 10 with a promise of the update to Android 11, and it does pretty good at gaming as well. I don't game on phones a lot, but it still does game. You can't have like Call of Duty on maximum settings or anything like that, but if you just play it in regular settings, it does just fine. This is a really good phone, and if you're somebody who's budget conscious, who doesn't care to have like the flagship phones or spend $500-600 on phones, then this is probably the phone for you. You'll really enjoy it. It feels great, it looks great, and it performs really well. So at $249, you can't go wrong. Good job, TCL. Alright guys, I'll be back in the next one. Laters.